There's a quiet confusion spreading through modern life. People aren't lazy. They aren't lost because they lack opportunity. And they aren't empty because they failed. They're exhausted from searching for purpose using maps that no longer describe the terrain. Something fundamental has shifted, and most of us can feel it, even if we don't yet have language for it. The old ways of finding purpose no longer work. Not because meaning disappeared, but because the structures that once carried it have quietly dissolved. For most of human history, purpose wasn't something you had to invent, it was conferred. You became something because the world recognized you as such. You moved through clear stages of life. You learned skills from others. You earned responsibility and trust. You committed to people and communities. You stayed long enough to be shaped by it. Your identity was shaped through friction, time, and shared reality. You didn't wake up every morning asking, "Who am I supposed to be?" You were already on the path. Purpose wasn't optional. It arrived with expectation. Belonging once had weight. You followed a band not just online, but through records, shows, scenes, eras. Sports weren't content. They were seasons, rituals, loyalties. Movements rose, peaked, fractured, and ended. Time mattered. There were chapters. Endings gave meaning to beginnings. And because identity unfolded slowly, it felt earned. You weren't optimizing yourself. You were becoming someone. Now look around. What marks adulthood anymore? What signals arrival? What declares you have crossed into something new? Transitions blur, milestones dissolve, everything becomes reversible. You can restart at any age, rebrand at any moment, belong without committing, leave without consequence. When nothing marks the transition, you never feel like you've arrived. People aren't stuck, they're uninitiated. Purpose needs time to have gravity, but modern life has flattened time. Everything is always available, always updating, always ongoing. There are no clear endings, only streams. Days repeat with variations, weeks blur, years compress. Life doesn't feel shorter, it feels thinner, and without temporal weight, nothing feels meaningful enough to hold on to. Something else quietly changed. We stopped entering life and started watching it. We observe creativity, politics, sports, culture, identity, but rarely participate in ways that cost us anything. Watching meaning is not the same as living inside it. You can't inherit purpose by observing it. And the more we consume life as content, the less it forms us. Purpose used to demand something. Time, discipline, risk, rejection, commitment. Now, identity is cheap. It is switchable, performative, reversible. If nothing costs you, nothing claims you. And if nothing claims you, purpose can't take root. So people float, hyper-informed, hyper-connected, and quietly unanchored. This is why so many people say, "I have everything I wanted," and still feel empty. Meaning no longer arrives ready-made. The structures that once shaped identity have eroded. Not dramatically, not violently, just quietly. Purpose may not be lost. It may simply have retreated to places that resist speed, to spaces that require friction, to commitments that narrow rather than expand options. Purpose may now appear only where something takes time, something has limits, something asks something of you, something cannot be optimized, not because suffering is noble, but because formation requires resistance. The old ways of finding purpose no longer work. Meaning has not vanished, but it no longer arrives pre-packaged. Purpose now forms slowly, quietly, in places that don't trend, don't scale, and don't announce themselves. And the unsettling truth is this: Purpose doesn't return when you find the right label, or the right path, or the right version of yourself to present to the world. It returns when you allow something to work on you again, when you stop curating your identity and accept being shaped by effort, responsibility, and time. Not optimized, not efficient, not protected. Purpose was never something you chose. It was something that changed you in the choosing. It came from commitments you couldn't abandon easily, from paths that narrowed instead of expanded, from friction that demanded more than comfort. And that's why it feels absent now. Not because the world lacks meaning, but because nothing is allowed to leave a mark. Purpose may only return where you're willing to be shaped again.